Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to ARC's weekly Fireside Chat. Thank you for joining us. We have some amazing human beings as always. Today, we'll be highlighting select Black members and staff to the context of freedom for all. So every person that's on this particular panel are ARC staff or members, and we're doing this in the recognition of Black History Month and just to celebrate some of our young Black leaders inside of the organization. So today I would love to introduce Josef Gray, who is ARC Sacramento Director, Myles, who's our ARC grant writer, Devontae Springer, who's our ARC intern, and Kenzo, who's our LA intern. So, and I could never, ever, one of my favorites, yeah, I'm playing favorites, is young Raven, who's come so far, and I'm just loving her trajectory that's in the unions, but I want her to tell her own story. So before we get started, I like each person to introduce themselves. So Raven, could you introduce yourself? How are you doing today? And how long have you been with ARC?
Hello, hi, I'm Raven McDowell, and I'm doing really good. You know, I'm really happy this morning. Thanks for having me. And I've been with ARC about 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Raven. Really appreciate you joining us. Josef, could you introduce yourself? How are you doing today? And what is your work at ARC consists of?
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, Sam. Good afternoon, family that's tuning in. My name is Josef Gray. I am the director of Sacramento for ARC. And the work that we do here, or the work that I do here at ARC, is I help to oversee the operations in Sacramento. I supervise our Sacramento team. I manage our partnerships and some of our finances. And I'm just super excited to be here, part of this conversation with all these beautiful, lovely, young Black people. So I appreciate you having me.
Hey, thank you, Josef. Appreciate you, brother. Kenzo, could you introduce yourself, the work you're doing at ARC, and how are you today?
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, actually, now. My name is Kenzo Sohoue. I'm a ARC member. I've been with ARC going on a year now. And with ARC, I'm actually a part of the policy department, working on justice reforms and changing the juvenile justice system. And I'm also working directly with Sam Lewis at the LA office. Thank you for having me today.
Hey, thank you, Kenzo. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Devontae, how are you today? And could you introduce yourself and your work at ARC?
Yes, sir. I'm good, man. So my name is Devontae Springer. I'm 24. I'm the CEO and founder of Community House Activism, and I'm also serving as a California justice leader, helping the youth involved in the Division of Juvenile Justice get their honorable discharge, and just helping with their whole, reentry back into society. I'm fulfilling my internship at ARC Sacramento. Been there for a few years, man, and I had the pleasure to work with everybody there last year, and looking forward to do it again this year, and looking forward to participating on this panel, man. So thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Devontae. I'm loving all the young people here. Myles, another young person. How are you today? And could you introduce yourself and your work at ARC?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, first of all. It's such an honor to be among such amazing individuals. And my name is Myles. I became involved with ARC 11 months and 19 days ago. It's been a journey, the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. ARC brings purpose to my life. And I am a grant writer. I work partly in communications department as well, helping with the social media aspect of things. And trying to get funding for our organization so we can continue to sustain ourselves. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to this conversation.
Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate each and every one of you. So for our audience and for our panelists, Black History Month is only allotted for 1 month out of the year, but just want to recognize that this group of individuals and many, many others here is proof that we make history all year long, nonstop. Wanted to get into this. How did each, I want to go through and we'll start with young Raven. How did you get connected to ARC? We'll start with you and then we'll jump to each of our members.
I was referred to you guys by Brilliant Corners. and breaking barriers.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And Kenzo, how did you get to ARC?
Honestly, how I got to ARC, you know how I got it. You got me there.
How did I get you there? Like, you got to remember, there are people that are watching this that they don't know how. Like, what did I do? I just drove down the street, was like, "Hey, little bro, you want to come to ARC?" How did you get to ARC?
Oh yeah, well, I first met St. Louis at Barry J. Nodorf and San Fernando Valley at Silmar Juvenile Hall, and that was the first time I met Sam, and that was when I told him that I was going to change my life and change my whole perspective on my decisions and my future. So he actually believed in me and told me that we could stay in contact and actually follow and chase my dreams and whatever it is that I want to be in life. And after I came home, it was a direct contact, and I got there, and I'm here now.
All right, thank you, Kenzo. Devontae, how did you get connected to ARC?
So I first got introduced to ARC like at the age of 16. I was locked up in Kiefer Juvenile Hall, and we used to have these, like youth meetings in the pod or whatever. And the guy that was leading one of the groups, his name was Victor Malin, and at the time he was a mentor, life coach at ARC in Sacramento. And I remember, one session we was in there, and he was, telling us about his story. And he was telling us, like I bought the house. He told us that he bought the house, that he grew up in Del Paso Heights. And I was like, bro, I live right down the street from there. Whoopty whoop. And he was like, yeah, like, when you get out, just tap in and, we can connect. And so when I got out, that's what we did. And he brought me into the ARC family. And I just always remember him inviting me to like every event ARC was doing, every movie premiere, every men's group. Like he was always inviting me, and that was big, at that age. So that's my story of how I got introduced to ARC.
Okay, so you said you were 16 back then. Now, how old are you now?
Yeah, I'm 24 now.
Wow, that's a long connection. That's what I'm talking about. Loving this. Myles, how did you get connected to ARC?
Absolutely. So a little backstory on me. I was incarcerated in Pelican Bay State Prison for a little bit under 3 years. While I was there, they began a group that was facilitated by 2 members of the Hope and Redemption team and in Pelican Bay State Prison. So shout out to Mark Taylor and Joseph Osorio. They came in to facilitate, and every week I look forward to this class. It was the only class that I think Pelican Bay offered that I wanted to participate in and I wanted to be a part of. Immediately when I saw the way Mark and Joseph carried themselves, it was a reflection of ARC as a whole. They walked with dignity, respect, and they brought hope into the institution that I was incarcerated in. So they introduced me to ARC, and while the group was going on, I was supposed to be transferred to an MCRP facility prior to being released entirely and off of an ankle monitor. While I was there, they give you your first 60 days or blackout period. So you're not allowed to go out to seek employment or join any classes for school, anything like that for 60 days. On my 63rd day, because I had my 60 days fell on a Friday, so I had to wait an extra 2 days over the weekend. On my 63rd day, I made it a priority to go down to ARC and meet the people who had already started to change my life. I go down there 3 days later. I meet everyone, and they offered me a position in the communications department. Shout out Nick Reiner. And from there, in June, I began in the development department, and now I work partly in both. And that's how I became introduced and acquainted with ARC. And now I'm I'm a member, a proud member, and a staff member. So thank you.
You got some family on the chat line. Super proud of you, Myles. But I want to highlight before I go to Joseph real quick. This is how we do it. But literally talking about grassroots, making sure that people in the community and in the communities inside of our systems are touched and have relationships and have connections for when they come home. So when you talk about grassroots, this is an example of grassroots. If you really want to know what grassroots means, the people that we serve are coming out of these facilities and out of our communities that have been impacted by the criminal justice system. It's not something we talk about, we do it. Joseph, how did you get connected with ARC?
Yeah, Sam. So my lived experience is within the juvenile justice system. I was arrested when I was in high school. I spent 3 years under supervision of SAC probation. And then, once I got off and I was, trying to do positive things in my life, I was actually connected to ARC through the chief of probation, great guy, Chief Lee Seal. He was like, man, I got somebody you got to meet. I got a community you got to meet. And he introduced me to ARC at that time. And man, ARC is, it was beyond anything that I ever met before. I never met people with similar experiences and background as mine, but just so positive and just so talented and just so loving and warm, like literally the warmest community I've ever been part of. So I remember when I first got introduced to ARC, it was like mind blowing to me. And I knew that this is where I wanted to be and where I needed to be. So, yeah.
Hey, thank you for that, brother. Thank you all. So here's a question that I like, and I'll start with Devontae with this question right here. What are some of the ways that you give back or get involved in your community? Let's start with that question with you, Devontae, and then we'll popcorn around with everyone else.
Yeah, most definitely. So for like the past, I say 3 years, I've been serving as a mentor and facilitator through the My Brother's Keeper program here in Sacramento. So just constant, staying tapped in with those those teenage boys, remembering, that they follow me on social media, that they see me in the community a lot. So just always being aware, you feel me, just trying to lead by example to the youngins. And then also got to serve the elementary school kids through a local nonprofit, Roberts Family Development Center. Did that for about 2 years. Got the chance to experience, summer programs, after school programs. Even recently with the distance learning, got some experience with that. And then just recently, I started the new initiative, which is Community House Activism. And that's pretty much me trying to use storytelling and activism to connect the community members, and then also using those stories to, influence change. So like the community has been like, I've been getting a lot of feedback from that, and just teaching, kind of offering these storytelling courses to kind of, because I've come to notice that a lot of people, they got different ways that they like to advocate. You know what I'm saying? For me, I'm cool with just talking in front of a crowd. You know what I'm saying? So for the child members like that, we offer like a professional video of their life story, and try to use the media to get their story out of there. But some people, do spoken word. Some people are dancers. So we just try to figure out their passion, you know what I'm saying, and use that with storytelling and telling their story, and use that, you know what I'm saying, to advocate. So that's a couple of things that I've been doing to just stay actively engaged in my community, and stuff like that.
Hey, thank you, Devontae. Raven, tell your story. Tell your story, little sister. I'm gonna tell it for you, because I think you're one of the most incredible young people that I know. Breaking some like what one, get involved in the community, but also what do you do for work? Like how do you support yourself? I think this is fascinating because I see you moving up into leadership in that place and eventually running the whole thing.
Hello. Well, I volunteer at the shelters. I work with Salvation Army and Project Room Key as well. I get to volunteer at with downtown Skid Row as well, and I get to be involved in inpatient and outpatient programs. And I also take my son to we donate a lot of things to like the women's and children's shelters and rehabs and inpatient, outpatient, and just have my hands a little bit of everything. I also sponsor women in the 12-step recovery process as well. And yeah, that's just what I do right now. I'm about to be a drug counselor to help other recovering addicts and alcoholics.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Like this young lady, young Wonder Woman, is making it happen. I mean, I see great things. Also, just so you know, like she's got an adorable son. Like Halloween time, I was checking out some of the pictures from Halloween. Just know that this young lady right here you're gonna see her making moves. Myles, what do you do to stay connected to the community or some of the work that you do in the community?
Absolutely. I get reached out to so often from members of our community requesting help. And, a few people know that I'm a grant writer, and although I'm recently new at it and it's a learning experience every day, I try my best to help out in that way. So people, I'm proud to say that a lot of young people have recently reached out to me, requesting my assistance with writing, grant proposals or trying to get small grants, for businesses that they're trying to start, or they're trying to really access their entrepreneurial side and grow, right, and learn. And I'm right there with them to assist them and help them. Another way is just social media, right? Using your voice on social media. It's become such a big thing in our society today, and I feel like that's a way that we can really enact change, and convince people to tell their stories, right? Like, our stories are important and they're valuable, they're impactful and they're meaningful. And if we can convince people of that, right? A lot of people don't believe that their stories matter, right? I was one of those people for a long time. My story doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm a grain of salt, a grain of sand in this entire ocean of life, right? How am I ever going to enact change? But I could spark that change in someone else. So that's what I try to convince others to do it, and especially members of our community. I know we've been system impacted. I know we're formerly incarcerated, and sometimes that can put a hindrance on what you think you're capable of. But I'm here to tell you that it's not a hindrance at all, right? You survive that. Now you're outside of those walls, right? So even though we were in physical confinement, I still allow my mind to be liberated, right? And I practice that same thing today, and I try to help others practice that same thing in themselves. So that's how I stay involved in my community, and I always seek to do more, right? So, I mean, Raven, you're a hard act to follow. Sam, you shouldn't have made me go after her. I love seeing how involved you are, and that honestly, like, it makes me want to get more involved in my community because I have a lot of similar aspirations, and there are always more. It's always more you can do. So, thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Raven. Do you see that message from Pamela Thompson on the screen?
Yes.
So just so you know, you have a cheerleading section over here. So we know that you're going to be an incredible drug and alcohol counselor, and we're so grateful to have you as a member of ARC. And thank you for that, Myles. Kenzo, how are you staying? What are some of the things that you do to stay connected in your community and getting involved in the community? Okay, Kenzo may be having some connection.
I really hope that everyone can hear me because I have like this internet is not stable. But hopefully everybody can hear me. But my engagement and my contribution to comes down to being a voice for that. And I do a lot of that in the policy department, and I love doing what I do because we're actually working on helping those that are inside. Where we once was, or myself, I should, and that right there, the whole world to me. But also within my community, consistently show my leadership skills at the house where I live, and everybody coming home from DJJ or prison, and empowering them, showing them how beneficial ARC can be to them.
Kenzo, try turning your camera off so that what you're saying flows more. So try turning your camera off, and we'll be able to hear you. That'll decrease the bandwidth that's being used. Okay, go ahead and tell us how you're connected now, how you connect with the community. Can you hear me, Kenzo?
So, well, me connecting with the community comes down to showing my leadership skills. And yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. We're listening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we can hear you, Kenzo. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I was saying was that working in the policy department to me is very important for those that are incarcerated, because the work we do actually makes changes, and that is one of ARC's mission, and that is also one of my missions, to make a change, because a lot of times things are the same for way too long, and we can't live like that for way too long. And being in the community, especially at the housing, show my leadership skills with everybody coming back from DJJ, coming back from prison, and empower them and prove to them how beneficial ARC can be for them. You know, we live in a society where.
Okay, Kenzo, you're breaking up, and so you're having some real connectivity issues. So we're gonna move to a different. Joseph, how are you connecting with the community that you're in? Kenzo, try moving closer to the router in the house, please. Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, for sure. First, Sam, I just want to say how inspired I am about all these great people that I'm able to be on the panel with, man. Everything that you guys are doing, Raven, Myles, Devontae, Kenzo, super inspiring. So thank you guys for all of your work. That's what I meant when I said that this community is super unique. Some of the things that I do, I mean, luckily, through ARC, we have a chance to get back to the community really every day. A lot of it through our policy work. We're able to advocate on the city, the county, the state, sometimes the national level. And so that's one thing that really impacts the community. Then, of course, is our mentorship that we're able to do in the community, inside the different facilities, the DJJ facilities, the juvenile hall in Sacramento, juvenile hall in Yolo, the jails. And so that's another big way. There's the volunteering that we do. That's a big part of ARC, and how we identify our people that volunteer and give back. So we do a lot of work with the food banks in Sacramento, loaves and fishes and things of the such. But even outside of ARC, I try to give back in different ways. One of the ways is I'm a part of an advisory board for a mentorship program here in Sacramento. It's called Project Optimism. Shout out to Armani, shout out to Ishmael, who started that nonprofit in Sacramento. So I'm able to engage with them, with working with inner city youth and helping mentor there. And then also ministry. Faith is a big part of my life and my change, and God is a big part of my change. And so I'm able to do Bible studies and a lot of ministry work. We open up this big basketball gym and have everybody come and hoop, once a week when it's not COVID times. And so that's something that we do. But just a lot of church work and ministry work, something that I love to do, and that's really I'm passionate about.
All right, thank you, Joseph. Appreciate you. Young Raven, have a question for you. So tell me some of the issues that you are really passionate about, that like you like just going 100% with.
Well, like the young adults that are being human trafficked, and alcoholics and addicts. And the reason why I'm focused on like the human trafficking, because I am a survivor. And I feel like when I was going to courts and stuff, they would send me to like parenting or anger management. They would never like focus on the real situation. I was never sent to a program for me being, human traffic and in the lifestyle, or any assistance ever. So like I was able to find my own resources now that I left the life. I was able to reach out to multiple programs that I'm now in, Journey Out and Children of the Night, that help me work through things with me, and I have the support that I have now. And I'm really into alcoholic addicts because I am a recovering addict too. I'm 18 months sober, and I'm here, and I'm just grateful that I got it together to be here for my son, to be present for myself, to move forward and help somebody that's struggling. Another young adult, woman, child, or whoever else I can help to move forward with life, because I know how hard things are.
Raven, you just so you know, you inspire me. You're shining. Just know that, and know you. I know I don't have to say this, but you do know that you have the whole support of all the members and the organization of ARC behind you. And again, we really appreciate you, and congratulations on that 18 months. So thank you. Devontae, what things in the community are you really passionate about? Oh, wait a minute. I just want to say, do you see the chat box, Raven? Just so you, like I said, like you got the cheerleading section over here. There's a bunch of people that are tapping in. You inspire people. So I just want you to recognize that, that you have a lot of people that are backing you up, that support you and that love you. Devontae, that question, pardon me, what community issues are you particularly passionate about?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say I ain't gonna lie, I'm a cheerleader too. I'm rooting for you, Raven, man. Keep up the good work. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
But to answer the question, the things that really like hit home with me is single parent households and gang violence. Those are something that I was, personally impacted by, what I'm saying, growing up. And recently still going through it. But I sometimes when I try to advocate, it's to the people, because like I still live in my in my community and stuff too. So like I noticed, like when it comes to gang violence, right, a lot of my family and my peers that that's young men around my age, I see like one avenue they try to take is like rapping. You feel me? Because like some people can like rap and make videos and make money off of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of hard, because it's like I'm right there and I'm seeing everything, and it's like I'm more of aware of, like, I guess, the bigger picture of, like, yes, you found a way, to support yourself. And yes, like, you found a legal way to, feed your family. So I just try to be there as like a voice, and be there as like a model of, you know what I'm saying? We can, there's hella other avenues, you know what I'm saying? Like, be an advocate, and do, believe in what you believe in, stand on what you stand on. But I feel like my role is really to just be there, you know what I'm saying, and try to make the impact within the system, not like, leave and go and not really care, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I still interact, with friends from back in the day, and still like that, because I'm trying to make the impact within, you know what I'm saying, and not trying to be on the outside looking in, you know what I'm saying, because they're not gonna listen to me if they know that I'm just, you know what I'm saying, like, out wearing suits and ties and stuff. Not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but they're not gonna listen to me, you know what I'm saying? So by me just being firm in what I believe in, and you know what I'm saying, like, people just notice the authenticity, man. So yeah, that I don't know if I answered the question, but
You answered it. Thank you, Devontae. It seems like we lost Kenzo for a minute. When he pops back in, we'll return to Kenzo. There he is now. Hopefully, let's give him a minute to boot back up. And in between time, in the meantime, Myles, what are some of the community issues that you are particularly passionate about?
Absolutely. I love this question. Right. So when I first became familiar with ARC, I researched them a lot just to see what they're about, and I wanted to see if they were actually talking about it, or if they were walking the walk that they talk about. And now that I'm a member, as soon as I became a member, it was clear to me, oh, these people are actually doing it. And one department that I was particularly proud of, and I love the work that they do in ARC, is policy, right? Policy and advocacy change, because that's what's necessary right now, and it's been necessary for decades, right? While I was incarcerated, I used to write a lot of essays on prison reform, and I saw one of the biggest issues, not the only, but one of the many and biggest issues within the prison system is the laws that ended those people in there, right? I was surrounded by lifers who were never getting out of prison, right? Who had no hope left, and they were in there from the 3 strikes law, right? That said that you're going to stay in here forever, right? And then we're there because of the super predator myths that went on and that were perpetuated for decades. And these men had no chance. And then I see men like you, Sam, who's after serving 24 years of a life sentence, you come out and you're an excellent leader. And this is what inspires me. I look at everyone in this panel and I see, look, this is hope. This is redemption. This is what we're capable of when given the opportunity. And it's with policy that I think that happens, you know. And when Prop 17 passed, for example, restoring the right for felons on parole or for people on parole to vote. First of all, we had already served our time in a carceral facility. Why are we still being penalized? And why are we still being taken out of the vote? Why don't we have a voice in what matters? Why don't we have a voice in choosing our leaders of tomorrow? We don't have that choice, but now we do, right? Because Prop 17 passed this past election cycle. So shout out to policy team for the great work that you do. Please keep it up. Please continue doing it. And I believe that through legislation and through our advocacy efforts, we can continue to enact this change that ARC is all about. And I'm just grateful to be a part of it. Raven, super proud of you, by the way, too. Thank you.
That's right, Raven. Hey, thank you, Myles. Super proud of every one of you that are on here. And just again, I want to double down on that. The policy department, we will have the entire policy department on here in the coming weeks. So be ready for some dynamic people when they appear. We have Kenzo back. So Kenzo, could you tell us what are some of the community issues that you are particularly passionate about?
You mentioned particularly passionate about?
Yes, sir.
The first thing that comes to mind is the lack of resources that poor communities have. That is one issue that was an issue for myself. And the reason why I say that is because I can relate, you know, being in a situation where you don't have access to anything that can show you or guide you to become better or a greater person. Because in order to become a productive member of your community, you have to have a productive mindset and have productive skills and tools that guide you into becoming that person. And so the lack of resources and empowerment within your community is the main issue that we deal with each and every day. And that is why I love the work ARC and I do, because we'll fight for these youth and even grown folks that need our support, that need a foundation into becoming productive members of our society. I hope everybody heard me clear.
We can hear you clear. Thank you for that. The short of it is, poverty is the cause. Crime is more of what we see, the symptom, but the actual cause is under-resourced and poverty in our community. Thank you for that, Kenzo. Really appreciate that insight. Want to jump to Joseph. Joseph, what are some of the community issues? Because just so you know, understand, this is both LA and Sacramento areas. And Devontae, you're in Sacramento?
Sacramento, yeah.
Sacramento, right? So this is both LA and Sacramento. When we're talking about community issues, we're talking about two cities or counties. And so we get the view of two different things. So Joseph, what are some of the community issues that you are particularly passionate about?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I think one issue in particular is really just eliminating the initial contact with law enforcement to begin with, you know, especially amongst our young people. When you talk to a lot of the people that have a history of incarceration and you ask them about, you know, when is the first time that they, you know, had any interaction with law enforcement, it wasn't at like, you know, 45 or even 35. Usually it's young people, you know, middle schoolers and high schoolers that are having these negative interactions with law enforcement. And so I think that we as a community pretty much need to find a way to eliminate that interaction to begin with. And that goes back to a lot of what, you know, Kenzo was just talking about. If we put as much effort into healing our communities and providing resources for our communities, there would be no even need for that interaction to happen in the first place. You know, I was listening to Dr. Flo from here in Sacramento. Shout out to Dr. Flo. And she gave a great example that firefighters nowadays, they don't fight fires that much no more. You know, they do some firefighting, but a lot of their job responsibilities now are medical, you know, addressing car accidents, getting people out of elevators, like, they do a lot of other things. And the reason for that is because they put so much prevention work into fire safety that now there's not as many fires to fight. They did building codes, they did awareness around fire safety, and there's not as many fires to fight anymore. And I think the same thing applies when it comes to community safety and public safety, and really eliminating law enforcement interaction. Is if we invested, like financially invested and committed into things like diversion programs and prevention programs and mentorship and therapy and sports and art for our young people that we could have access to, we would have no need to even have these discussions now about how to reform the system. And so that's one thing that I think particularly needs to be addressed.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Joseph. Truly need those resources and that connectivity in order to actually create more prevention. If you can imagine a fully resourced community of Malibu, of Westwood, we need those same resources in communities where people like us live. So we definitely want to make sure that we continue to push that way. So for everyone on this panel, for every single one of us on this panel, incarceration has affected us. We're more than the time that we serve, though. And so I want to ask each of you, what do you imagine for your future and what are your goals? And y'all all know I always say this. When I say dream big, because dreams become realities. I mean that. And so again, want to come to Raven. Raven, what do you see in your future? What are your future goals? And I mean, like, I always look at it like, I told Scott 5 years ago, well, now almost 7 years ago, that in 5 years, I would like to be running ARC. And he looked at me, he was like, are you serious? And in 5 years, that's where I'm at now. But it was like, that was one of my goals. And so Raven, for you, what are your big goals? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, right now I want to finish school at a community college, transfer to a university, and finish my education. But I really want a program that's recognized by the court for women who have been human trafficked, and a program for families for reunification, like a longer process, like a second chance program to help families and any young adults that are out there that need any assistance, and just having a bright future and helping my peers and anyone that's struggling.
Okay, thank you for that, Raven. I want you to know, like, I don't know how much you realize this, but you are a huge inspiration, just so you know, and I'm not just saying that because we have said that to you before, but people see you and how you've just been focused, consistent, and nonstop, and making sure that your pathway is clear. So I just want you to know, like, you're a powerful young sister, and we want to amplify that. We want to support you, and we want you to always know that we got your back, okay? Want to go to Devontae. Where do you see yourself? Like, what is, like I said, incarceration has impacted all of us on this panel. What do you imagine for your future? What are your goals, your big goals?
Yep. So one of my goals right now is to just provide the infrastructure, for these marginalized communities that we talk about, and kind of just reshift the power back into the community's hands, So earlier, like Joseph and Myles, they mentioned, policy and how important it is. And, me just getting older and, doing more, reading and more research, I start to see that policy really is important. So that's one thing that is trying to come up with, like, creative ways to engage, to get people engaged in policy and storytelling and things like that. And so my goal is to, right now I'm working on raising $500,000 to get this infrastructure and all these the courses and all that, just have the infrastructure to where I can have these community members come and receive all of these certification and all these resources, and then go back in a community and just repeat the cycle. So that's my overall goal.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate that, Devontae. Definitely. So you young leaders are vitally important to changing how the system works. And also to you, Devontae, want to know, we got your back, little bro. Like, just keep pushing. Like, as leaders, our job is to lift up more leaders, to help more leaders find their space. And so you're a young leader, and I know I don't have to say this because you've experienced it, but we're gonna always have your back. Raven, you know the same. And Journey's trying to get your resume because she's trying to steal you from her. She says send her your resume because she wants you on her team. So just so you know, you got a lot of supporters on. I also want to invite the audience. If you have questions, please send your questions in the chat, and we will answer them as time permits. Kenzo, what do you imagine seeing your future like, and what are your goals, your big goals?
Well, my future, I see my future becoming the next executive director of ARC in LA.
That's right.
That's the first thing. But my goal really is to getting my master's, but definitely going to school and majoring in business and finance, because I want to open an organization that has like a multi-category platform, which includes barbering, fitness, digital marketing, sports. You know, I want to have like a multi-resource kind of business that can actually provide all type of different potential support, I should say, so that everybody is welcome. Everybody can have access to it, and everybody will be able to fulfill their skills and goals.
Okay, thank you for that, Kenzo. Appreciate it, bro. Let me know when I got to give your seat up, man, because this seat is meant for, as I said, part of my job is to make sure that young leaders are being lifted up and being prepared to take over the helm, whether it's ARC or the presidency of the United States. It's still our job to prepare our young leaders. We have a black women vice president right now, Raven. I'm thinking maybe it's time for you to start preparing to be the first black woman president. So just saying, I mean, hey, dream big and make it a reality. That's just being honest. Myles, what are your major goals? What do you see yourself when you imagine and you see your goals? What do you see for yourself in the future?
Absolutely. Thank you. It's endless, right? But my main thing is that it's not about me, right? It's about the people who come after me. I want to empower and mobilize others. I want to show them their worth, right? And I think there's two ways that we can do that and sort of restore the Black community. I want to reinvest in the communities that have been most impacted by these laws, by over-policing, by the anything negative that comes out of the criminal justice system that doesn't perpetuate justice, right? So I noticed that financial illiteracy is a huge component and a huge proponent. It's a huge factor in people becoming incarcerated. Many crimes are committed out of financial insecurity, right? So they're trying to find financial stability and security through a negative means, a harmful means, and it's not always necessary. So as opposed to the responsive approach that we've been taking in America and with our carceral system, how about a preventative measure, right? So I want to show our Black community and our communities of color, impoverished communities, not only for communities of color, but I want the people of color to know that they have power. And I want it to be taken back because we deserve it. You know, we've been put down for so many years that we don't want to be put down anymore. We're not going to allow you to put us down anymore. And I think one way we can do that is through finding financial stability and financial security. So that way our carceral facilities aren't filled with people who didn't have money and committed a crime to get money. I don't want to see that happen anymore. Secondly, mental health, I think, is a huge thing. And I know young men of color never address their issues. Guilty myself, right? I've signed up for therapy, to see a therapist 3 times within the last month. And every time I cancel before it gets here because I don't want to address certain issues that I have. And I think that's a problem that is universal within our community, you know? And until you address those issues within yourself, how can you be of service? And how are you going to be able to help someone else who's in need of your help? You're not going to be able to. So I think those two things, financial literacy for our community and addressing mental health and realizing the importance of it, I think those things right there will have a lot of power within our community and restore who we are. So that's a couple of things that I want to do in the future. Not that I want to do, that I'm going to do in the future, right? Because there's power in words. So those are two things that I'm going to do in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Myles. Powerful, like truly powerful. Definitely want to agree that mental health and therapy, just culturally, is something that we kind of shun and look at as almost as if it's taboo. And that's people of color, not just Black people, people of color in general. Just want you to know financial literacy is super important. Want you to also, Stephanie of Bank of America just said, great panel, financial literacy. And one of the financial literacy workshops that we run inside the facilities actually came from Bank of America. So just want to give a shout out to Bank of America. Stephanie, thank you. And this is something that we believe across the board in our communities and for people that are coming home. It's important for you to understand credit. It's important for you to understand how to build credit. It's important for you to understand how to save, how to invest. All of those things are important so that you can build wealth and be self-sufficient always. Joseph, I want to ask you, for you, what are your big goals in the future?
Yeah, Sam. I mean, I think to put it lightly, is just really get into the bag. You know, like I said, there's so many organizations out here that are doing amazing work, and I just imagine how much more productive and effective that we could be if we had the funding to support it. And so my big goals is to either, build up, some large wealth or be associated with the foundation where I can help identify and determine these organizations that are doing this amazing work and support them financially to be able to continue doing the work. There's so many great things going on in the area in Sacramento, I know throughout the state. And we just really need to make that investment into these orgs that are already doing the work in order to see healing in our communities, because that's what it boils down to. Our community, especially speaking about Black community, needs to heal from a lot of things that we've been through, a lot of things that we've been taught. And the way that we're going to do that is by really building up grassroots organizations that are already doing the work in the community. So I want to find a way and connect myself with an entity that could really help to, provide funding so that we could continue doing the things that we're already doing on a larger scale.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Joseph. Greatly appreciate it. And these are all incredible goals that can be achieved, visions. Understand that oftentimes visionaries, people don't agree with them. Our current DA in Los Angeles is a visionary, and some don't agree with it. But it's vision. The visionaries are the one that form the future. And these are young visionaries right here. Raven, you just got off probation. Congratulations. Loving that you got off probation. What does it feel like to be off probation?
Okay, I feel so free. Like I don't have to check in with anybody and I could travel. You know what? It was a process though. When I first got on probation, like I felt like it was like all bad for me that I was gonna go back to jail, and like that my PO was gonna be really trying to put me back in jail and just really mean to me. But it wasn't like that. My term on probation, it went well. I got connected with Brilliant Corners and Breaking Barriers. That's where I received housing for my very first time. I was able to be stable for the first time in my life. And then from there, I got cross-connected with ARC, Journey Out, Children of the Night, and, just all these programs that support me and just ground me to grow as a person. So I'm just thankful for my experience with probation. I'm so grateful that I'm off. Right now, I'm trying to get my criminal background expunged. So I'm just ready to move forward, new chapter, just pushing forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being an amazing leader. And thank you for just being who you are. I want to take a moment out again to shout out Bank of America, who's one of our partners and that has helped us do a lot of the work that we're able to do in our communities, inside institutions that have been huge supporters. So shout out to Bank of America, Stephanie. We appreciate you, and we're thankful for that partnership to be able to continue to affect change across the board in our communities. We're at time now just about, so I'm going to go to each one of our amazing panelists. I want to again thank you all for joining us. You are the future. You are incredible, and we greatly appreciate you. So I'm going to come right back to you again, Raven. Last thoughts for our audience?
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, ARC, for supporting me and help me through this process, not with just myself, but my son as well. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of this team and to move forward. And thank you guys.
No, thank you, Raven, and we'll always have your back. Always know that we're here, extended family, and that support network. Devontae, last thoughts for our audience, and thank you again for joining us, little bro.
Nah, no doubt. So my final thoughts, I usually always end with like when I first got started, like, you know what I'm saying, a few years back, like just on my path that I knew I was supposed to be on. It started with really a commitment to myself, you know what I'm saying? A commitment to keep educating myself, a commitment to treat people better, a commitment to just be a better person overall, just keep working towards that. And then through that through me constantly every day trying to keep my commitment is the reason why, you know what I'm saying, I'm here right now. So I never thought, you know what I'm saying, I would be on panels or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying. It's just I came to a conclusion in one day of my life, and I stuck to that commitment, and God started blessing me. You know what I'm saying? So I always like to end with people, just telling people, you know, the change, it always starts with you first. You know what I'm saying? There's constantly a lot of things going on in the world, like just anything you could think of, like going on in the world and in your personal life. You know what I'm saying? I always just try to tell people, do not try to get consumed. You know, do not let all the bad things about life consume you. You know what I'm saying? Always just remember, we got one life and you got to live it, you know what I'm saying, to the fullest, regardless of, you know, everything that's going on. Stand for what you stand for, believe in what you believe in, and just don't forget to, you know, live life. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm gonna end on.
Thank you, brother Devontae. Appreciate that. Those are some wise words coming from a young brother. Kenzo, last thoughts for our audience, please.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to ARC. I'm just so grateful for ARC helped me become such an amazing young man that I am. I'm at a whole nother level of my life, and it's so great, and it's amazing for so many people to have such a heart to create this type of platform for everybody and anybody, and it's just like I'm so grateful for my policy team, everybody in policy, Ken, Ronnie, Ezekiel, Alicia, Sophia. Like, I'm so glad for, you know, my housing staff, all my life coaches. Like, it's just amazing to have such a productive environment and individuals that's constantly in your life and constantly productive, you know, and it pushes you to just do the same or even do better. And I'm just like at a whole nother level, and I always say all the time, I intellectually think past this universe, and that's how far like I really became a productive person for myself. And it's just amazing, and I'm so grateful, and I wish everybody, a member of ARC, partners, and anybody that collaborate with us, a long life on this earth, and a healthy and wealthy life for the future to come. And thank you again. I highly appreciate it. Seriously, I'm so grateful for real.
All right, thank you, Kenzo. But always remember, we just create the pathways, little bro. You putting in the work. Like, you have to show up. Like, you have to do the work. We simply open the door for you. If you don't step through, it never gets done. And you've been doing your stepping and handling your business, and we greatly appreciate you and all these other amazing young leaders. Myles, last thoughts for our audience?
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to end with a quote, and then I'm going to speak very briefly after that. There's a quote that says, "The one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has at least started to understand the meaning of life." Right? a lot of what ARC is doing today, we're not going to see the effects of for decades, right? But we're sparking something right now. Even with the incremental change that we've been able to enact so far, all right, imagine what we can do with time. Imagine what we're capable of doing on a larger scale. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Thank you to ARC. I'm super grateful to have this platform. Super grateful to have ARC exist as an organization of support, a supportive network of people, of individuals who I can talk to, individuals who come from a similar path and who know what I've been through, right? Because they've been there too. Super grateful to have everyone join us today, all the attendees, all the panelists. Super grateful for you guys. I'm proud of all of you. And thank you, ARC.
Thank you, Myles. And I always say this, that ARC is member driven, is made up of members. Without the members, ARC would not be ARC, period. And so literally, I just want that to be really clear, especially to our audience. This is a member driven organization. 75% of our staff are formerly incarcerated. That's what we focus on. We're going to end mass incarceration in the state of California and eventually nationally. We will do that in collaboration with our partners and other organizations. We can't do it alone. It has to be a united effort. Joseph, last thoughts for our audience, brother?
Yeah. I just want to tell our audience, and specifically the young people out there, the young Black people, the young people of color, that you can do this. You know, when I was young, I never even imagined myself navigating these circles, you know, and you know, I kind of had the belief that this ain't what we do. You know, I was a young street dude or whatever, and I was like, oh, dressing up? Nah, we don't do that. Like, I don't do that. I'm from South Sac. Like, we don't do that. You know, policy? Nah. You know, I honestly was intimidated about a lot of these things. Policy was intimidating. You know, I felt like I couldn't even begin to comprehend it. You talk about financial skills, like that stuff was intimidating. You know, business professional, like it was intimidating. I didn't see myself ever navigating those circles. But growing up, I learned like I could really do this, and I am meant to be in these circles. I am meant to have my voice in these conversations. I can have an impact here. And I didn't believe that when I was younger. And so for all the young people that are out there, like I said, specifically the young Black people and young people of color, this world is yours. Like, you belong in these spaces. You belong in these conversations. Your voice is valuable, and your contribution is valuable. And so challenge yourself to those, whatever negative that you learn from the hood or whatever, like challenge those things and really challenge yourself to learn how to navigate these circles, because it's these circles where change happens. And so just believe in yourself. And for anybody that's in contact with young people, always encourage them, like, you could do this, like you could be that.
Thank you so much for that, Joseph. And I want to echo that in my closing thoughts. Just so you know, I believe in young people, all young, not just young Black people, but all young people. I believe in you, and we support you. And those of us that have gone through the system, that have been incarcerated, juvenile hall, state prison, DJJ, you have a place here to help you to get to where you want to go. That's what we do. We provide resources in order for you to be able to thrive, not just come home and survive after incarceration, but to truly thrive and be the person that you aspire to be. Our job is to help you get there. Your job is to put in the work to actually get there. So I want to thank everybody once again for joining us. And next week, we will be highlighting, wait for it, we will be highlighting Black women in our vibrant community as part of our Black History Month calendar. So next week, it'll be an all Black women panel. I may be on for a couple of minutes, and then the sisters are going to take it over, and we're going to let them talk about what it's like and the work that they're doing and some of the things that they aspire to be. I want to thank you all for joining us. Please take care, stay safe, and God bless.